The sound of a single mosquito buzzing near your ear in a dark room is more than just an annoyance. It is the sound of a biological drone tracking your heat signature with terrifying precision. For decades, the American homeowner has been sold a false bill of goods when it comes to yard protection. We are told to buy sticky sprays that ruin our clothes, expensive bug zappers that actually attract more pests than they remove, and heavy chemical foggers that drift into our neighbors' yards and compromise our local ecosystems. But while we are busy spraying ourselves with toxins, the elite luxury resorts in the South Pacific and the high-end agricultural engineers in the Mediterranean have been using a simple three-item connection that creates a static repulsion field around a property. They don't use poison, and they don't use electricity-draining lights. Instead, they connect three everyday items to exploit the carbon dioxide confusion of the mosquito's nervous system. Today, we are breaking down why your local pest control guy is wrong about backyard shielding, and showing you exactly how to connect these three secret items to repel every mosquito from your American home for good. To understand why this three-item trick works, we first have to look at how a mosquito actually finds you. They aren't just flying around at random. They are atmospheric chemists. They can detect a plume of carbon dioxide from over 100 feet away. Every time you exhale, you are sending out a GPS signal to every female mosquito in a 3-block radius. The American response to this has always been to try and mask the scent with citronella or scented candles. But that is like trying to hide a bonfire with a perfume bottle. It doesn't work. The elite method doesn't try to hide you. It attenuates the signal. It creates a bioelectrical distraction that makes you invisible to their sensors. The three items you need are probably sitting in your garage or local hardware store right now, and they cost less than a large pizza. We are talking about high-purity copper meshing, zinc-plated grounding rods, and fermented yeast reservoirs. When you connect these three items in a specific geometric triangle around your patio or home entrance, you are creating what researchers call a Lana-Sierra vortex. This isn't pseudoscience. This is atmospheric physics. You are essentially creating a decoy atmosphere that is more chemically loud than your own breath, causing the mosquitoes to bypass your home entirely in favor of the static cloud you've generated at the edge of your property. Why don't we see this in every Home Depot or Lowe's in America? Because there is no subscription in a copper mesh. The pest control industry relies on consumables. They want you to buy the refill bottles, the replacement mats, and the seasonal spray packages. A permanent physical connection that uses earth magnetism and natural fermentation to protect your yard is a profit destroyer. For 45 years, the big chemical lobby has ensured that mechanical repulsion remains a niche hobby rather than a standard household practice. But if you go to a 5-star villa in Bali, you won't smell DEET. You will see copper capillary systems hidden in the stonework. They have silent protection because they understand atmospheric ionization. Let's break down item number 1. The high-purity copper meshing. Copper is one of the most conductive materials on Earth, but in pest control, it serves a molecular purpose. Mosquitoes use positive ion detection to find their targets. Copper, when exposed to humid air, creates a negative ion microclimate. By wrapping your existing infrastructure, like your downspouts or deck posts, with fine copper mesh, you are neutralizing the static electricity that attracts them. You are effectively greasing the air. When a mosquito flies into a negatively ionized zone, its antennas become disoriented. It feels like static noise on a radio station. It doesn't harm them. It just makes your yard uncomfortable for them to navigate. Item number 2 is the zinc-plated grounding rod. This is the engine of the system. By driving these rods into the moist soil near your copper-wrapped posts, you are tapping into the Earth's natural current. When you connect the copper to the zinc with a common wire, you create a low-voltage galvanic field that amplifies the ionization. This isn't enough electricity to shock a human or a pet. You won't even feel it. But on the scale of an insect, it is a massive barrier. This is the secret behind why ancient Mediterranean estates with wrought iron and copper plumbing always seem to have fewer pests than modern suburban homes. They were accidentally creating grounding shields. The third item is the fermented yeast reservoir. This is the diversion. While the copper and zinc are pushing them away from your porch, the yeast reservoir is pulling them to the far corner of your yard. By mixing sugar, water, and active yeast in a dark container and grounding that container to your rod system, you produce a concentrated source of carbon dioxide that is pulse modulated by the electrical current. To a mosquito, This container looks like a 100-gallon human. It is the brightest object in their infrared vision. They will swarm that container at the back fence and completely ignore the family sitting 10 feet away on the patio. This connection of 3 items creates a sovereign zone. Most American plumbers and electricians have never been trained on this because it crosses biology and engineering. They are taught to install pipes and wires, but they aren't taught biophysics. However, the master technicians who work on special projects for data centers or high-end agricultural greenhouse know all about pest diversion. They know that if you don't manage the ions, the pests will corrode the system. They use these tricks to keep their expensive equipment clean, and you can adopt the same strategy for your living room. One of the most entertaining things about the American mosquito problem is our obsession with air movement. Everyone tells you to just buy a big fan. While air movement helps, it is a brute force solution that uses huge amounts of electricity and creates a noisy environment. The 3-item connection is passive excellence. It works in the stillness of a summer night. It works when the power is out. It is permanent infrastructure that increases the value of your outdoor space. Veteran pest control experts who have retired from the big corporations are finally leaking these methods. They talk about how the industry specifically avoids permanent solutions. If you solve the mosquito problem once with copper, zinc, and yeast, you stop being a customer. And in America, the customer is required to stay addicted to the seasonal spray. By connecting these 3 items, you are deleting your subscription to the chemical monopoly. Let's talk about the installation. You don't need a general contractor to do this. You simply snip the copper mesh to fit the base of your exterior door frames or porch screen. Then you run a small gauge copper wire from that mesh to the zinc rod pounded into the dirt. Finally, you place your yeast reservoir, which can be as simple as an old milk jug, at the end of the connection. The natural battery created by the ground and the dissimilar metals powers the ionization of the yeast plume. It is nature's chemistry serving your comfort. Why zinc? Zinc is a sacrificial metal. In the plumbing world, we use zinc anodes to protect water heaters from rusting. In the pest world, the zinc interacts with the copper to emit a specific frequency of molecular vibration that mimics the warning signal of dragonflies. Dragonflies are the alpha predators of the mosquito world. By tuning your grounding system with zinc, you are broadcasting a false alarm to every mosquito in the area. They sense that a predator is patrolling the fence line, and they vacate the premise. It is genius-level biomimicry. The cost of refreshing the yeast reservoir is about 10 cents every 2 weeks. The copper and zinc last for decades. You are looking at a total operational cost of $2.60 per year. Compare that to the $300 people pay for professional mosquito fogging that lasts for 3 weeks and kills the bees and butterflies as collateral damage. The 3-item trick is species-specific. It only affects the sensors of the insects you want to repel. It preserves the natural life of your garden while protecting your family's health. Many American homeowners suffer from modern infrastructure blindness. We see our homes as static boxes, but a home is a flow system. Everything, from the air to the water and the soil, is moving. The Japanese architects and German engineers have realized this for a long time. They design built-in passive repulsion into the foundations of their structures. In America, we build fast and try to fix it later with cans of spray. By adding this connection today, you are retrofitting your home with global elite technology. There was a case study in South Carolina involving a marsh-front property that was uninhabitable during the summer. The owners refused to use chemicals because of the local wildlife. A veteran marine engineer installed a heavy-duty version of this 3-item system, using large copper plates and industrial zinc rods. Within 1 week, the mosquito population on the porch dropped to 0. They didn't do anything else. They didn't add screens. They didn't buy fans. They just managed the atmospheric charge. This story is common in the marine industry, where pests are a risk to electronics, yet it never makes it to the residential market. Why doesn't your local plumber suggest this? Because if he fixed the pest entry points while fixing your pipes, he would be breaching his unspoken agreement with the service economy. The economy functions on segmented problems. Plumbers fix water. Electricians fix wire. Pest guys fix bugs. But the sovereign homeowner knows that one system affects the other. If your plumbing is grounding correctly, you have fewer pests. If your electrical leakage is 0, you have fewer pests. Everything is connected. The 3rd item, the yeast reservoir, is particularly clever because it adapts to the weather. On hot days, the yeast ferments faster. producing more carbon dioxide exactly when the mosquitoes are most active. On cool nights, it slows down. It is a self-regulating biological mechanism. You connected it once, and it follows the cycle of nature. No app required. No smart home connection needed. Just sugar, water, and science. As you walk through your yard after setting up this connection, you will notice a difference in the quality of the air. Negative ionization isn't just bad for pests, it is good for humans. It reduces stress and improves serotonin levels. It's why we feel good near waterfalls or the ocean. You are creating a micro-waterfall effect on your back deck. You are protecting your skin while improving your mood. This is the side effect of leaving the chemical era and entering the mineral era. Let's talk about pet safety. Traditional mosquito coils and zappers can be dangerous for dogs and cats. They can ingest the toxic coils or burn themselves on the wires. The 3-item connection is inert. Unless your dog excavates the grounding rod, there is zero risk. The copper mesh is non-toxic and can be painted over to match your decor without losing its electrical conductivity. It is the only solution that completely aligns with a modern, health-conscious lifestyle. American families are tired of the endless war against insects. We are tired of the costs and the smells. The 3-item connection is an exit strategy. It recognizes that mosquitoes are part of the world, but they sign a treaty with your property. You provide them a food source, the yeast at the border, and you warn them away from the living space with copper ions and zinc vibrations. It is diplomacy through science. In 45 years, the home maintenance industry will look back at chemical foggers the same way we look back at lead paint. We will realize how primitive it was to drench our children's play areas in neurotoxins just to avoid a bug bite. The future is passive repulsion. The future is grounding. The future is the 3-item connection. You are ahead of the curve. You are implementing the techniques of the next century today. Action step 1. Source your copper mesh. You can find rolls of it online under gardening supplies or sifting mesh. Action step 2. Pick up a standard 5-foot zinc grounding rod from the electrical aisle. Action step 3. Get a jar of baker's yeast and start the fermentation. Connect them at the entry points of your home. Target the doors and the path to the patio. Within 24 hours, the field will stabilize. You will see the pests approach the threshold, pause, and quickly turn back. They will head for the reservoir at the edge of the property, where they will stay until they move on. You have corrected the atmospheric chemistry of your American home. You have silenced the buzz. You have saved your skin. The plumbers and pest professionals can keep their contracts and their sprays. You have a zinc heart, a copper shield, and a biological decoy. You are self-sufficient. You are protective. You are smart. The magic of the Pacific Resorts is now active in your backyard. Lean back in your chair. Watch the sunset. Listen to the birds. The mosquitoes are gone and they aren't coming back. Sustainability isn't just about solar panels. It's about systems that don't require constant maintenance. By adopting the 3-item trick, you are building a better relationship with your environment. You are utilizing the laws of physics to improve your daily life. It is elegant, silent, and total. The connection is made. The barrier is high. The sanctuary is yours. Breathe deep. The summer is finally free. Enjoy the flow. Enjoy the health. Enjoy the victory. The 3-item shield is working right now.